Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are in the world today, I hope that you and your loved ones are doing great. Hope that life is treating you well. And most importantly, my friends, I hope that you are in good health. Once again, welcome to the Common Sense channel. On this channel, we get to talk about those things that people know, that people have thought about, but don't often have the time to discuss. These, my friends, are the things we talk about here on the Common Sense channel. So once again, welcome to the Common Sense channel. Today, videos, I want to talk to you about Trump. So let's talk about Donald Trump. I want to begin this video by saying this video does not mean, or I'm not doing this video because I'm taking side. I'm not doing this video because I am supporting Donald Trump, the president. I'm doing this video as an independent thinker. I'm doing this video because here on the Common Sense channel, we talk about those things that people know, that people thought about, but don't often have the time to discuss. That's why I'm doing this video. I'm doing this video because I am, just like any other Americans, I have a view, I have an opinion, and I have a say in the development, in the functioning of this country. That's why I'm doing this video. For a lot of you who are looking at current event, who understand what's happening in this world, I mean intelligent people. I mean people whose sole job is to study the changes that are happening in our world. You, my friends, understand, fully understand the role that Donald Trump is playing. I think Donald Trump is saving America from itself. That's what Donald Trump is doing. Even a reasonable, a Democrat that uses common sense would understand the situation that this country is in. America is in some serious problem. And that's what Donald Trump understands. So if you may ask the common sense, I tell you that Donald Trump is making and saving America from imperil. You understand? Right now, the world is going through so much changes. And anyone that understands marine biology, you would know that in the ocean, there are many creatures in the ocean. Those bigger fish or fishes in the ocean do not need to ask permission from the smaller fishes before they eat them. They just go ahead and eat them. That's how our world is today. So Donald Trump understands that in order for America to get out of this problem, there must be some changes to get America to where it is. Before the founding fathers, George Washington, handed over power to John Quincy Adams, he told the Congress, the Continental Congress, that in order for America to be great, it must stay out of the affairs of other countries. In other words, America must practice something called isolationism. You understand? And if you look at this country, America has been blessed with many things. America really don't need the other world, the other part of this world to succeed. America can succeed. America can be great without the rest of the world. You understand? And that's true. You just need to do research and you will see there are a lot of things America has in this country that America can live on and don't be bothered by no one across the globe. The only continent that would need the kind of resource that America has is Europe. And every now and then, as long as Putin, the president of Russia, continue to prolong this European experiment or the war in Europe, the weaker will Europe become. And the weaker Europe is it's better. Again, the weaker Europe becomes, it makes it much better and much easier for the smaller fishes. The smaller fishes I'm talking about are those smaller countries that are part of the European configuration to free themselves from the yoke that is European countries. You understand? So the weaker Europe becomes and the more Donald Trump prolongs peace talks in Europe with Russia, the weaker Europe becomes. The weaker Europe will become. And I don't think Europe has enough time to keep mopping around. Europe must take a decisive stand to bring about the end of that war in order to be okay. You know, you remember, if you can recall, right after World War II, aka European Civil War, Europe was so weak that the African nation that were under their yoke were emboldened to ask for independence, so-called independence. If they had managed to extrapolate themselves by uniting at that time, it would have been difficult for Europe to have stronghold in Africa and other parts of the world where Europe had stronghold. So when the weaker Europe becomes, the weaker Europe becomes, the better it is for those countries that are still being plagued by the colonizers from Europe. So, Donald Trump, do your best to make sure that there is peace in Europe, that there is peace between, I don't want to say Ukraine war, because that war in Ukraine is not Ukraine war. It's a war, European war. And it's a war for dominance. That's what it is. It's not for Ukraine joining NATO, none of that stuff. It's just a war of dominance. And when, like I said, when I use the analogy, the marine biology world, where the bigger fish don't need permission to ask whether they want to eat the smaller fish, they just eat them. Now, the ushering of a new world order is imminent. It's imminent. And Donald Trump knows that. And that's the reason why Donald Trump is making sure that America first become the main agenda. Because Donald Trump knows that America really don't need Europe in as much as Europe needs America. And if America can just practice isolationism and just become more nationalistic, Europe are the ones that are going to suffer. So the imminent of the war hegemony can only be with America. Europe will not be included. And that's what Donald Trump is looking at. And that's the reason why Donald Trump is doing what he's doing with America. I think Donald Trump is prolonging the peace of Europe so that it can weaken Europe even worse than it's already done right now. And Putin also know that too. Why would Putin want Europe to be weaker? Because then that way he wouldn't have no one to challenge him at all. And it's a strategic and a smart move that Putin is taking. He is patient, he is calculated, and he is not in a hurry because he knows the longer it takes, that war takes in Ukraine, the weaker Europe becomes. And he is also pushing other buttons in other places where Europe has strongholds, so that way it weakens Europe even more than it's already done. Europe is weaker. And as it did in after World War One, aka European Civil War, the only reason why, again, most people say Hitler was an evil man. Yes, he was. But I often say, I'm not a historian or anything like that, but I often say this: if it wasn't for that war, if it wasn't for Hitler, a lot of those countries, especially third world countries, would have still been under the yoke of colonialism, although today they call it neo-colonialism. But Africa, especially, South America is a different place. But yes, and this Southeast Asia, all these countries would have still been under the yoke of colonialism. But World War II, aka European Civil War, ushering a new beginning for those countries, third world countries, that were under the bondage and yoke of colonialism, imperialism. So every event in the world history has always been a turning point for change in our world. I want to say this. Donald Trump knows this. BRICS is not going nowhere. BRICS is gonna be the new world order. It's not gonna take America out. America is a big fish. America don't need permission to eat any fish they want to. You understand? America can eat whatever fish they want to. Just like the tiger don't need permission to eat an antelope. It's the same. All those big fishes in the ocean don't need permission to eat any small fishes. They just grab them and eat them like that. But the new world order is imminent. It's gonna happen. Whether it's gonna happen now or later, but it's gonna happen. And Trump is positioning America to be ready for that. That's his role. That's his role. That's why he's put in this position. Whether you like it or not, that's his role. There are not every policies that the president is implementing I'm okay with. But at the same time, I can see what he's doing. I can see. America is in serious problem. I mean, the problem is deep. But only those wise people, those people who are intellectually sound, those people who are paying attention, those people that are not programmed can see it. They only them can see it. Don't listen to this politician telling you all that stuff about Trump. In their quiet time, they know what he's doing is the right thing to save this country. They know that. That would be the opposition party. They know. And America don't have enough time to do that because the speed at which the BRICS bloc is moving at, it's just a matter of time. But America wouldn't even need to put up with BRICS. America can survive on its own because it has everything it needs to survive. And that's what Donald Trump is doing, making sure that America will survive with the emerging of the BRICS nation. Already knows that. You understand? That's what this whole thing is about. Donald Trump cannot stop BRICS from becoming what they will be or what they already are. But he can solidify the United States and make this country independently sound, financially sound. And America can still trade with the world and still be great. It's just that it won't be interfering with other countries financially. So by the time the US dollar become less significant to the world is still going to trade with the US dollar, but it's not going to be a legal tender. It's not going to be that global currency that it currently is, but it's still going to have some potential. That's what he's doing. And in order to do that, you have to build your economy and you have to lock it in. You understand? So he's first locking it in, making sure all the manufacturing power comes to this country. Then he can say, okay, we don't need to go there again. We have everything here. You understand? That's what he's doing. So if you can't see it, or if you haven't seen it, you are not paying attention. You have to pay attention to see what he's doing. A lot of people think that if you want to live, if you want to enjoy life, you have to take drastic measure. Let me tell you, all of the luxury things that you are enjoying in this country, all the beautiful things, the life you are living in this country. Look, if you know what the United States has to do to bring these things to you, my friends, you will tell them to continue. Because if you want to live that lifestyle, you want to enjoy all these luxury things, those measures that America are taking or is taking or will be taking is what will bring these things to you. Says the big fish in the ocean. The big fish in the ocean do not need permission from any small fishes to eat them. They just grab them and eat them because in their mind, it's the right thing to do. That's why whatever you may think is good or bad, it's only in your eyes, but in the eyes of others, not. So I've always say, the greatest thing that can ever happen to anyone is discovering yourself. And once you discover yourself, everything, my friends, will start to make sense to you, including understanding the fight that America is putting up with. America is putting up with a fight, a serious fight. And this fight is for its survival. And Donald Trump is the one steering that ship. So all you can do as a citizen of this country is to continue to open your eyes, learn, ask for guidance, ask for understanding. Don't be carried away by emotion. Just look at what's happening. Every now and then, if you understand history, see when a new superpower is taking over, there's all these changes. It will happen. The worst that America can do is to start a nuclear war with these other big fishes in the ocean. And you know, the African says, when two elephants are fighting, eh, they said the people that the entity that suffers are the people that suffer are the grass. When two elephants are fighting, the grass suffers. There's so much wisdom in that saying. So the worst America can do is to start a nuclear war with these people. And these people are not America's friends. You understand? So if you're meeting with Putin, Mr. Trump, make sure to bring peace. If you love Europe, Europe is where your generation came from, Mr. Trump, President Trump. Try to bring about peace because the downfall of Europe is imminent. I'm telling you, Putin doesn't really care because Putin don't want Europe to be stronger. He don't want Europe to be powerful. He wants Europe to be weaker, like it was after World War II, so that way he wouldn't have no competition in that block or in that terrain. You understand? According to marine biology. So the only big fish would be in that area would be them. You understand? All the BRICS people, they are determined, Mr. Trump, and I know you know it. All you can do is make America first. Make America great. And America don't need nothing from no one. If anything, America needs some resource, they can afford to buy it. The US dollar is going nowhere, but it's just going to be other currency out there that's going to be competing. In other words, it's capitalism at the global stage or at a global scale, you know? So capitalism internally and capitalism globally. What does that mean? It means that competition. Now you have a new currency. It's going to be competing with the dollar. So the dollar used to be backed by gold, you know? So all Donald Trump needs to do is just go back to what the gold standard and back the money instead of just printing it out now. It's going to be backed by something. America has so much that America can back their currency with. They can, again, I don't need to say much anyway, but you need to understand the potential of this country. I'm not saying this to give lecture to anyone or to give knowledge to anyone. I'm just saying it because I live here. And whatever happens to this country would impact me one way or the other. That's just common sense, you understand? So from the Common Sense channel, that's what I do. Talk about those things that you don't want to talk about. So yes, America is in a serious fight. All you need to do, if you're a loyal and patriotic citizen that love this country, that care about the United States, because America has a role to play in the world. But over the years, it hasn't been doing what it needs to do. So what it did was it weakens these other countries that were not even enemies. Maybe they were not even thinking alongside what they've done now. Now there's no turning back. And Donald Trump understands that. So he's pulled back to the United States and said, let's fix it here. Let's take care of this country first. Let's solidify things in this country. Let's make it stronger so that nothing can penetrate this country. Let's make America powerful here. Make it great. No one is going to attack the United States anyway. No one is going to think about it because it's a big fish. And there are other big fishes out there that control other part of the marine biology, and they can eat whatever fish they want to. So is the United States. But if America controls her territory, strengthen her economy, make it better, greater, stronger, enforce the dollar, can be a formidable force. Even with the advent or the introduction of a world power, America can still emerge stronger. And that's what Trump is doing. So in short, Mr. Trump is making America great again and making sure that America is safe from herself, from her own destruction. True, from the Common Sense channel. I didn't take any of my, whatever it is I'm saying here from any talking heads out there. I do listen to some of them, but I think they're missing the point. Some of them would say things that don't really make no sense. But here on the Common Sense channel, we just look at things in a different way. And that's what we ought to do. We have to see the world in a different way to understand how things work. Yeah. So I think it would be a great time because capitalism it's not bad though. It's just like greedy people. Greedy people are what makes capitalism horrible. But capitalism, if it's implemented and applied the right way, can be a force for change. How good would it be when you have another currency out there that can compete with the dollar? Whether you like it or not, it's a good thing. You know, people can trade across countries, and just like how you trade from one country to another, I think it's a great thing. That makes their money even more powerful than the BRICS currency. Trump knows BRICS is going nowhere. He knows that. Yeah, he knows. And American enemies are boldened. They are emboldened. They are not afraid again because they see something that they know the end is near. They know. When I say the end is near, I'm not saying America is gonna fall or anything like that. So don't get it twisted. But they know that hegemony that America had over the rest of the world is coming to an end. They know that. They know. It's just a matter of time. So the only thing Donald Trump can do, which is what he's doing, is to pull back to America and make it and solidify this country and make it great. You understand? So again, I just want to thank everyone to continue to watch and support my videos. I know that you are smart. I know that you see the world the same way as I see it. But our world is changing. Our world is never going to be the same. Anyone, especially in this country, anyone that will come after Donald Trump, you have to be Donald Trump 2.4 or 2.3. You cannot be different. You cannot be of the past. You have to be either like Donald Trump or a little bit different, but brash, just like, or maybe like him. You know, I'm not saying it to like, I'm just saying what I see and what I know and what I can observe. Because our world is out here for everyone to see, except some people are failing to see it and they are just banking on the emotion. Take away your emotion and you will see the world for what it is. Thank you and have a pleasant day. If you have questions, comment, don't hesitate to post them there. You know where to post them. If you like the video, give it a click too. I want to thank all those people that continue to support my channel, watch my videos. And always, as I've said, the greatest thing that can happen to anyone, it's not the day you're born, not the day you have your first child, your first car, the day you graduated from college, high school, none of that. The greatest thing that can ever happen to you is the day, my friends, you discover yourself. From that day on, everything will start to make sense to you. Thank you and have a blessed day.